So the big question is this: how do small business owners like us grow our leadership, develop our teams, and scale our business in a way that allows us to get our products and services out to the world, yet still remain profitable? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. I'm Bradley Hamner, and this is the Club Capital Leadership Podcast. Welcome to The Bottom Line, a new weekly podcast series that we drop every Thursday to complement our weekly Monday podcast interviews with the industry leaders. These podcasts are going to be designed to give you short, impactful, and value-driven information that you can start using right away in your business. I value your time and attention and will do my very best not to waste it. Just get what you need and go. So with that, let's get into today's episode. Hey, everyone. Hope you're doing well. So I want to talk about hard work today. I got to give you a little bit of a background story. And so if you're like many business owners, you work really, really hard. In fact, you probably bust your tail. So this is not going to be a podcast about you need to work hard and you need to work harder. In fact, it's not going to necessarily be the opposite of that, but it's going to be something that has really helped me and thought I would share. I've shared it with some other business owners and it helped them. And so I thought I'd share it with all of you today as well. And so, but I got to give you a little bit of a background. My dad is the hardest working person that I know. So my entire life, he's owned, well, actually, he started, I think, Clemens and Hamner Seed Company, which is a farming operation and then like a seed conditioning. So imagine if you're a farmer and you get wheat, your corn, soybeans out of the fields, and you've got to be able to get it processed and get it bagged, and then obviously take it wherever you're going to sell it, or if you're going to use it, store it, et cetera. So my dad does all that. So that's one aspect of his business. And the other aspect is farming. And at one time they farmed nearly 10,000 acres. I think they're probably a little closer to maybe 4,000 or 5,000 acres now, but still a lot. Are you an agency owner looking to better understand your financials and take charge of your tax bill? Well, Club Capital is here to help. As the largest accounting and advisory firm for insurance agency owners in the country, they are way more than your everyday run-of-the-mill CPA. Club Capital provides financial, CFO, and tax advisory services that help you plan and forecast your financial success. You'll meet every month to review your agency's financial performance, the difference between your profit and actual cash flow, along with helping you better understand your bottom line. Visit club.capital to book a solution overview with one of our business consultants. Club Capital, way more than a CPA firm. And the reason I tell you that is because he started that company around 1980. I was born in 1981, so I'm 41 at the time of this recording. And he's still the hardest working person that I've ever seen. But that's not the only business that he had. He was the FFA agriculture teacher at my high school in Northwest Alabama. And so every day he would take us to school. We'd get there obviously at 8:00 and he'd be there. We'd be there until 3, of course, until I was able to drive, myself and my brother. And then we'd come home and he would change from his duck head pants, literally, into his Carhartt overalls. And then he would go to the seed plant and he would be there from 3:30 until, usually 8:30 or 9:00 at night. And so if he got home before 9, that was good. Well, the same thing happened on Sunday, and the same thing happened on Saturdays, of course. We'd go to church on Sundays, and then we'd come back and go eat Chinese buffet or whatever, and then he'd go back to the seed plant. And so, he missed a lot of my baseball games. He certainly wasn't able to be there with me for a lot of practices, et cetera. And I don't resent him for that. And he never really had this, meeting with me or this time that he was telling me about the importance of hard work. I just observed it. I just observed what it actually took for him to be able to do all those things. And of course, I didn't appreciate it until much later in my life. Now, do I think my dad, spent too much time at the seed plant and working? Yeah, I do. But at the same time, he really instilled in me hard work and dedication, what real hard work means. And that's something that I've had to fight my entire life. But meaning working too much and working too hard, honestly, and burning myself out. In fact, that's exactly what happened to me in 2015, but I'll share that story for another time. And so ultimately, you have that's a big influence on my life. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you've seen any of the podcasts that we've done previously, my affinity for Auburn University. And in their creed, they talk about, I believe in work, hard work. And so going to a university, and the creed at Auburn is, it's special to Auburn people and to the Auburn family. And so this constant idea of working hard has always been instilled in me at a really young age. Now, that being said, what has really come to fruition for me, and what I shared with some other business owners after I paint that picture about how much I value hard work, it has been painfully obvious to me that what is more important than hard work is what you work on. In fact, it was a quote by Naval Ravikant. If you're not familiar with him, definitely consider picking up the book, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. He's an incredible, brilliant mind. And that is one of the things that he says. What you work on is more important than how hard you work. And I thought, man, is that really true? Because there are times that I can look back that I was busting my tail. And many of you may be listening to this podcast and coming back off of a day that you really did work really hard. And have you ever had those days that you worked really hard, but you actually didn't feel like you got anything accomplished? And that is because I think that sometimes we just don't take the time to really think about what are the highest leverage activities. I mean, some people call them income producing activities. I don't think that's true, but really, what are the most important things that I need to be working on as a business owner? I'm recording this. Obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see it, but the book, I went and grabbed it off the bookshelf, The E-Myth. And that talks about working on the business, not in the business. And so I just want to take a little bit of a spin on that and say that truthfully, what you work on is more important than how hard you work. And if you are going to be working hard, doesn't it make sense for you to be working on the things that are going to get you the highest return on your investment? And that's kind of where I'll leave you, is that for different people and at different stages, the thing that may be right for you, that's going to be the right biggest lever for you to be working on your business, may be a little bit different from someone else, not only in terms of years, but also revenue and team size, et cetera. But no matter where you are, every one of you that's listening to this, and myself included, we want to get to the next level. We want to grow, and we want to become a better version of ourselves. And we want to see our businesses grow. We want to see the impact to our teams. We want to see them grow. And I think that just taking a little bit of time each week, and I can't say that I do this every morning, but one thing that I do spend time on, and I'm going to do a solo episode about this particular thing, is in thinking. And one of the things that I think about is, what should I be working on? Because a lot of times I can get caught into the day-to-day activities of the business, the whirlwind, because the business will pull you back down into that. And so I think that you have to work really hard to actually, really intentionally, I should say, so even there, I talked about working hard, but you have to be very intentional about forcing yourself to work on the right things, to work on the business. And so what you work on is far more important than how hard you work. And if you are going to work hard, would it make sense to put all your time and your energy and your focus, and most importantly, your attention on the things that matter the most? That's been helpful to me, because I realized that some days, and I still do this, some days I will think, where did the day go? What did I get accomplished? Did I actually move the business forward? And so it brings me back, and I'll say, you know what? I need to refocus. What I work on is more important than how hard I work. You don't get a trophy for, staying at the office 9 hours out of the day, but getting nothing accomplished. We only get paid, literally, or rewarded or recognized for the results that we provide in the marketplace. So anyway, hope that's helpful to you. It's been helpful to me. I shared it with some other people, and they found it helpful for them to be thinking about that as well. All right, everyone. Appreciate you. Lead well. If you're listening to this podcast, I know you're someone who has a growth mindset, and you probably want to be able to grow your book of business as well. Well, DirectClick specializes in helping insurance agencies leverage Google Ads and SEO to drive inbound phone calls, leads, online visibility, and even organic traffic. You can be confident in knowing exactly how well your ads are working and getting support in what really matters in your business. Get exclusive online marketing support today when you visit directclicksinc.com. You know how important it is to develop yourself and to develop your team. Well, if you're going to do that, you want to do it with the best. Work with Coach P Consulting to learn and implement the same strategies that he used to sell over 700 life policies in 2021 alone. You'll get personalized coaching 2 times a week and an in-depth look at how his office is run, and Coach P will train your team alongside his own. Get your first month free when you mention the Club Capital Leadership Podcast during signup. Visit CoachPConsulting.com to get started. If you've listened to this podcast for any amount of time, you've heard me say many times, the best use of money is to be able to buy back your time. And one of the best ways to do that is by hiring a virtual assistant. Whether it's an executive assistant or creative marketing assistant, RockSolid has a unique hiring process to net the very best talent, and they intentionally match you with a great fit for you and your team. They value your success as if it were their own, because it is. If you're looking to build a rock-solid team for your business, reach out to Tracy and her team at rocksolidassistance.com.